And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
Good morning.
Yeah.
We're on a different day and time right now. We have some schedule conflicts for tomorrow's show, so we decided to do it this morning so we can give you fresh new content.
Can't miss a week, Rob. We try to work around it, and so this beautiful Monday morning,
yeah. So
talking SEO.
Yeah, to tell you a little bit about the show. So those of you first time listening, here at Search Talk Live, we talk about social media, search engine optimization. What else?
Social media,
search engine marketing,
content marketing,
conversion optimization,
link building,
technical stuff.
Anything and everything. Yeah,
and we try to do it in kind of like at the beginning of our show where it says we're going to talk in a language that everybody can easily understand.
Yeah.
We do that because, that's what we try to do. We don't really get too technical so that you can understand what the show is all about or what we're telling you about or giving you tips on. And with me today, my co-host, Caleb McKelvin.
The one and only. What's going on, Rob?
Not much, man. Psyched about doing the show a little early this week.
Yes, sir.
Got a busy week ahead of us. Some of the things we want to talk about, first and foremost, I want to talk about e-commerce platforms.
Yep.
And, a lot of people, there's a lot of platforms out there that they built their sites, their platforms 5 years ago and really haven't done a lot of optimization or as far as structure and that type of thing. And this is kind of goes out to those people with the platforms and how they can improve the platform so that they get better in search, so they can be optimized for search better, which is good for your clients and your customers and people who just have a platform and what they can do possibly going forward to improve that situation. First, I wanted to start out with a lot of platforms, e-commerce platforms. They build their structure to where, let's say you have a particular product and they want to take that and what they do is they put it in a category. Now, if they put that product in multiple categories, the way it is now, or at least most platforms I've seen and worked with, they duplicate that product across the different categories. So they have basically the same page, but multiple times across the site. And the whole goal for at least e-commerce, all sites really, is to, bring that content down to where it's focused and you don't have as many pages to index, because it's really a waste of time when Google comes to your page and, they're indexing 15, 20 of the same page. And then you're leaving it up to Google to figure out which one they want to index, and you really need to make that where it's optimized. So they hit one page, bam, it's indexed, and you're not wasting your crawl time on your site with multiple duplicate pages. So in a way to make this work in a very optimized way is instead of having multiple pages, and it's kind of the same thing with WordPress, with the category pages.
Yeah.
And in tags. It's kind of the same situation. So if you're developing a platform, you really need to, create in a structure so that every category points to the same, if it's one product, but it's in multiple categories, that it all links to the same page. So it's not linking to 10 different of the same page, you know what I'm saying, in a different URL. And then make sure the URL structure makes sense. So you have the friendly URL. So if your product is a Canon, I'm just making up a number here, XP700 or whatever, maybe make that part of your URL structure. And then anytime Google indexes those different product pages, that's going to help your site so much. I can't stress this enough. And a lot of people that build e-commerce platforms really didn't think about this stuff back when, because it wasn't a big deal. We didn't have algorithms and all that stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
Back when they built these platforms.
Well, I think, Robert, it's so important to be as clear and upfront as possible on what you're providing. I mean, I like to think of the analogy, and this might be weird. I know how we are with analogies. We're not that great with it. But I mean, when you see a bullet, when it has to go through so many things, it starts slowing down. I mean, that's the kind of thing. If you have so many different signals pointing to it, if it's kind of all over the place, your traffic is going to slow down, and Google's. It's going to be difficult for them to get to what you want them to see. It's going to be difficult to them to recognize what you're offering, and if it's all over the place, then you're going to have a more difficult time not only with your users and your conversions, but just like you said, with getting it indexed and identifying what it is all about. So you want to be as clear cut as possible and provide the easiest path as possible.
Right. And the way Google works with their when they index a page is they're going to go through, and it might take once they index a page, it usually takes 2 or 3 days for them to actually show up in search.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if it indexes multiple of the same content, it's going to sort that out first, and then it might take longer. It might be a week or two before it figures out, oh, okay, well, let's just try this one.
Yeah.
And if you're in a platform where it doesn't make sense to do all that work, maybe use canonical tags.
Yeah.
Canonical tags are another option that you can make show up on each one of those copied pages and make it point to the one main category or the one main product.
Yeah. That's a big tool to use. I think a lot of, especially people who really don't understand how that's going to benefit them. It's a really big tool to use. So the crawlers can identify which is the most important, what it's all pointing to, which is the most relevant. And even if you have a lot of stuff in the same topic or the same thing, if you identify and label that canonical tag, then it's going to be much easier for that page to get indexed, and it's going to know exactly what it needs to be looking for and what's being offered.
Right. And it's with those of you that don't know what a canonical tag is, let me just kind of give you a little brief definition. Basically what it does is if you have duplicate pages with the same content, you can point on each one of those pages, you can point to the main one, main page. And that tag tells Google, I don't want you to index this page. This is the original one where it's pointing to.
Yeah.
So that helps with the indexation of your site. And it'll follow that pretty well and index that one only page that you're pointing to. And that's really an easy, quick fix for those of you that have a platform that's kind of following that duplicate page kind of layout,
right?
Instead of having to redesign the platform.
It's big for, and when we had our little meeting, our little get together with Mr. Fishkin, when he said when they update content or when they, said they had something in 2014 and they wrote something in 2015, and it kind of looks through, they add that canonical tag.
Yep.
So it's updated, which is the most fresh content, which it needs to be pointed to, which is a really good tool to, especially if you're a content site. And I like to do this all the time is if I update a post or, I have something that's very similar, it's got the duplicate content, yet stuff is added to it, which is something that's really good for content marketing, because we all know it can be very difficult to come up with new topics, but you can add upon and refresh and add new statistics and information and images and all this kind of stuff. Adding that canonical tag is going to be a real easy fix to the whole duplicate content issue and everything like that, to where it's structured, it's layout, you're not going to run into any issues. Yeah,
plus Google loves fresh content. So when you're doing those descriptions and stuff for your products or category, your products or your service, whatever it is on your e-commerce site, make sure it's unique to that product. Don't go to another competition that has the same product, copy their description and put it in your site.
No.
I see that all the time. But you want to make sure that's unique, because if you offer unique content, you're going to be rewarded for it.
That's something I think you definitely need to take time as to, with every product service that you have, is you need to invest the time to write a good quality description and content about it. It's going to pay off more in the long end, instead of just taking, okay, well, let's see what they're offering. Let's see what they say. All right, let's take that and we'll add that to our site because it seems to be doing well for them. It's something you need to take the time to really invest in providing that content and providing those descriptions. And it's as simple as relaying the information to the user, to the reader, to the search engines. And, it's just be upfront about it, be very descriptive about it, be unique about it, and it's going to pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to give a good description, not just a couple of words or just one sentence. I mean, find all you can about that product.
Users like details.
Yeah,
they like to know what they're investing their money in. They want details.
Yep. Give that description in the product of what its features are, the benefits, all that stuff. Make sure that's in there because just a one sentence thing is not going to cut it.
No.
You want to make sure that you're using H1 tags for the product description. Give a really good meta description.
Yeah.
And title.
Yeah. I mean, you're selling somebody something. You're selling them something. So if you're sitting there talking to them face to face, I mean, it's something I like to say all the time is you want to talk in conversation. You don't want to write for search engines. You want to write for the user, write in conversation. If you're talking to somebody face to face, which is something we don't really do that much of these days, everything's done online. So, I mean, you can take that same approach, and I think users really like that. They respond well to it because it doesn't seem kind of, spammy and like, oh, they're just, whatever, on to the next one. If you talk in that conversation and be descriptive and put that image in their head, then, you're going to benefit on the conversion aspect.
Yep. You said it, man. And very much like a WordPress site as well, on a product category page, you want to no index follow. So basically what you're doing is if you have multiple categories with the same products in there, you're going to do just like you would on a blog category page. You would no index but follow. So that way what that does is it keeps any kind of duplicate issues with that as well.
Yeah.
And when you keep it as a follow, that means Google's still going to go through the page that's there, and it's going to follow all the links to the category or to the product pages, and it's going to just optimize your site for the crawlers to go through your site.
Yeah, you want to have that follow because the more barriers that you put up, the more difficult it's going to be for them to crawl and understand what your site's about, and you want to make it as smooth as possible. So no index is fine, but I think a lot of people apply that no follow, thinking, well, we'll just keep it out of sight, out of mind. It's just something for me to see. You want to keep that follow because you want to make it smooth and transparent for the crawlers.
Plus, Google says you shouldn't be using no follows unless it's a link out to another page.
Yeah.
So what the other thing is, too, on that is you also want to have where was I going? I got distracted. Make sure your navigation is very clear.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that a person can land on you anywhere on your site and get to what they're looking for within just a couple of clicks. You don't want to have to make them go deep into the site and get lost and have to go back to the homepage.
Yeah.
And then click through another section. And I've seen that. I've seen some crazy setups, but you want to make it clear and precise. You want to make sure your categories make sense. Make sure that they are relevant to that section. Don't throw anything in there that's just out of whack and makes no sense.
Yeah. It's just like if you owned a store, you wouldn't put all your products in the back. You would have it up front so they could see it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can get to it. It's accessible. That's the same thing with your navigation and your site. You want to make everything clear-cut and accessible to the user, because if it's not, then they're going to leave your site and they're going to go somewhere else that, they can easily find it, because time is money on both sides. And so they don't want to spend an exceeding amount of time looking for and trying to find what they need. And, if you can put that right in front of them and make it as easy as possible to get to what they want, then, benefits both of you.
Yep. Now, the number to call in if you have questions is 855-722-0006. Again, the number is 855-722-0006. And it's option 1 after you call in. If you have questions, or you can do hashtag Search Talk Chat on Twitter.
Yeah.
And we will answer your questions there. I'm monitoring that right now.
We are keeping tabs.
Yes. Now, back to the e-commerce thing. The other thing I see quite often is you need to stay on top of your SSL certificate. Google will, if you're an e-commerce site and your SSL expires, guess what? You're losing rank.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to happen. And also make sure, have your webmaster go through all parts of the page, all parts of the site, and make sure that everything is under that SSL. Because I've seen a lot of times where, there's images that are not linked to it, and it puts an X, or, they're not under that SSL. So it'll put an X at the top left of your search address bar. And that kind of makes people kind of hesitant about purchasing something on your site. So, you want to make sure that all that is stay on top of. If me personally, I would auto renew that particular product, or because to Google, security is like number one.
Yeah.
If you're selling something, if you're taking credit card information, or even if you're not, Google gives a ranking boost for having an SSL on your site. And even if you're if you're not an e-commerce site or not, it might be beneficial. In some cases the rank has been quite big, but some of them has been real small. So if you do an SSL, I would recommend doing 1024-bit encryption. That's just like really super high encryption. You don't have to in order to get that ranking boost, but and also do the SSL on the entire site, regardless if you don't take checkout information or customer information on the homepage or whatever. Secure the entire site. That's going to prevent you from getting hacked. It's going to prevent all kinds of things that can happen to your site in the long run. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, man. You kind of hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
It's all about security, and the more secure you are, the more that you provide to protect the user, the better off you're going to be in all aspects. So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and then, I also see a lot, too, with e-commerce platforms is they haven't updated their templates to be mobile-friendly.
Yeah.
That is huge because there's more people on mobile now than there is on desktops, and that's huge. So if your site is not set up to be mobile friendly, you're missing the boat, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I do most of my purchases on my phone unless I'm in front of my computer at the time. So, and I'm not just talking about me, a majority of people do it. I shop Amazon like crazy on my phone.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, Rob.
Sure.
Google Shop, how's that impacting e-commerce? How's that impacting online sales for these sites? They're all about putting the products right in front of the user, right at the top, everything like that. What can e-commerce sites expect to see from that? Is it benefiting those? Is it hurting?
Oh, it's huge for those that don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about Google Shopping. When you're doing a search and you see those images at the top of the search results, that's a paid section. And what that is you can actually put your product and it shows an image of it. And, as long as you keep it very relevant and targeted, you're going to get amazing traffic from that. And, it's not organic, it's paid, but that's huge for an e-commerce site because you're getting right there. It's not a text ad. It's more people are visual, so they're going to see that image of the product and click on it.
Yeah.
No, that's huge.
So, they see the image, shows the source, the price, everything like that. You go to that Google Shop, they click on it. It takes you straight to the checkout, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's instead of them having to go page, description. If you can get somebody to that landing page on, click it, check out, so on and so forth. You're taking all the middlemen out of it, and you're right there, and they're more inclined to actually make the purchase.
Yeah, and the advertisers actually can pick what page they land on.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to, if they're looking for spring dresses, you're going to have a whole page full of spring dresses, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just an example there. There goes the analogy.
I mean, if you want a spring dress, get a spring dress, Rob.
So, and then, lead them through that funnel. Obviously, most e-commerce sites are pretty good at having a funnel. That's a given.
Yeah.
And that's time-tested type of stuff. And I even have clients I have trouble with. Funnels are huge importance, but that's a whole nother show. That's another topic we can talk about actually today. Driving people through a funnel. But yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything. Those are the most important things. And obviously you want to follow best practices on optimization and basically the basics.
Yeah.
Find out what they've, if it's a product, you want to really make sure that product is descriptive in the titles, the meta description. I mean, it's really focused too, because if you're selling a particular model or, type of product, whatever it be, like I was using an example, was a Canon camera earlier. That is so laser focused because you're going to have people looking for that model
right
in that in the search. So if your pages are optimized, your platform, your e-commerce platform is optimized like that, Google's going to see that your site is very clean, and you're going to have a leg up on the competition because there is, let me tell you, I've been in the industry for 13 years, a little over 13 years, and I have seen so many bad e-commerce platforms. And the ones that kind of are the early adapters and follow those best practices are going to see amazing results for their clients.
Yeah.
And a lot of these platforms have multiple different clients on their platform. So, I mean, if they adapt that, all of them are going to benefit,
Yeah, absolutely.
As well as as long as everything is laser focused, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No.
Did you have some questions?
No, I mean,
No, not. I'm talking about questions. People writing
questions. Yeah, I was like, well, no, I'm listening. Yeah, we'll always wanted to say this.
All right.
We'll pause for station identification. Always listen to that. If you ever watch the Cubs on a Saturday afternoon and WGN, Harry Carey, I always used to say Joe Buck. So we'll pause for station identification. This is Search Talk Live. You're with Caleb and Robert O'Haver, Caleb McKelvin. Talking about SEO, digital marketing. We are powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies, robertpalmercompanies.com. We got our man Dave on the board helping us out today, as he does every show. 855-722-0006. Call on in, questions, concerns, comments.
Option one.
And hashtag Search Talk Chat.
Yes.
On Twitter. And that's at Search Talk Live, at CJ_MCE is what I am monitoring. And you got Mr. Robert O'Haver over here. So, yeah, we did have some questions. And we'll kind of run through them real quick. Well, not real quick, because we'll expand on them a little bit. The first one is, I run a small local business and want help with my site and SEO. Should I use an agency or go the freelance route?
Depends on your budget.
Yeah, that's a big one. It does depend on your budget and what you want, what you're expecting and goals. I mean, a lot plays into that. A freelance might be a little more be able to negotiate what you're looking for, but I would tread lightly on who I use for a freelance, and kind of you want to do as much research and background checking as you can. And what they're doing. An agency route, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you want to make sure that you're using somebody that's reliable, has a good reputation, has a proven track record, knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about. So, I mean, local SEO is huge in boosting your business and boosting your local presence. So you want
national.
Or national. So you do want to invest the right time and resources into that, but you want to make sure that you're getting a return on that investment. So I would say you can probably either go either route, but you want to make sure that you're doing your research background and asking the right questions.
Especially if you're looking at freelance. Because with freelance, there is, I don't know the percentage, but there's a ton of great freelancers out there that can do an amazing job, but there's also some really bad stuff that can, without you even know it, one day you might your site might have a penalty.
Yeah.
Because of the person doing bad practices. So you really have to be careful. And in our last episode, we actually talked about what to look for in a search engine SEO consultant. Or with agencies, you're a little more safe. It's not, if you do your research, you're going to find out which ones stand out more than others.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're looking for SEO and you Google SEO, agency or something like that, and they come up first, they're good.
They're pretty good. Usually pretty good. Usually. I would say usually. There are some exceptions, some people that sneak up for a short period of time before they fall back down flat on their face. So, if you search for it and, they're ranking pretty high, they got some good recommendations and stuff like that, then that's something you should consider. But, they might be ranking on the first page, top 3. Still, do your research and find out what they've done, their background, and, the reputation.
And you know what? I tell all my clients that I do is when I give a quote and I do an evaluation on a website, I tell them to go get a second opinion. Because I am totally fair with my clients and the people I work with. And I want them to trust me. And I tell them, take this quote. Well, actually, don't take the quote. Take the evaluation. You can take the quote too. I mean, doesn't matter. But usually I'm a lot lower. But you take the quote and take it to another consultant. Get their estimate. Get their evaluation on your what they gave you. Yeah. Because that's a good checks and balances, and they can tell you, oh, this guy's full of crap, or or something like that. So that's a good way to test it. And when you do get somebody to evaluate your SEO evaluation from another company, make sure that they're legit. Yeah. Do 2 quotes, and then that other company can come back and say, it's better not to give them the quote that you got because they might come in lower or higher, obviously. But you want to make sure that the evaluation is accurate. Yeah. Because sometimes a company, and I'm not saying, everybody's like this. There's a few companies out there who will say, oh, you need a full redesign, when you really only need to be optimize the pages. Right. So, it's important. It's a good checks and balances for your company. Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah. I think that's a long-winded, but answers the question.
It does answer the question, but it's an important one. So, let's go to the next question. I currently use Facebook ads and promote posts through Facebook, but have not used Twitter. Is that something I should consider? Sure. It depends on your budget. Twitter has gotten a lot better in the last coming years, but as long as you stay laser focused on that information, your advertising, okay. As long as you're laser focused on that information, you're going to find it could be very, beneficial for your company. But you got to make sure that when you're doing the advertising, it is laser focused, and then. It also depends on your demographic, because certain places might offer, their demographic might be different than others. So if you're on Twitter versus Pinterest, or if you're on Pinterest, the 53% of the people on Pinterest are ages 18 to 24. So if your demographic is 18 to 24, I would say that's a fantastic place to advertise. Twitter, it's all across the board. It's all over the place. You've got professionals and everything else. It's great. You can promote your profile there, so they can get your content, share your content, that type of stuff. And it all depends on your demographic. So, in Facebook, again, that's across the board, and Facebook's really, really good at laser focusing your target. So you can take that target and, you can get the cost per click is probably the lowest than anywhere than Twitter or anything else. Twitter sometimes can be expensive. But on Facebook, you could take that article you're posting, and it takes a little while to set up, but, tweaking your audience's interests,
all that stuff. You can check that. It'll give you an estimated cost per click on those things. And then by doing that, if you keep tweaking it, maybe remove some interest and add some interest, then it's it'll keep giving you estimated cost per clicks. And then you obviously keep working that until it gets the lowest amount on the cost per click. So once you focus that, I've seen clicks as low as 3 cents a piece. And you can get that down very, very low. I mean, for 1,000 people, for $30, I'll take that all day long. But yeah, what's the next question there, Caleb?
Let's see here. In my analytics, I notice I get a lot of traffic or jump-in traffic from floating-share-buttons.com as referral. What is that?
I don't know. Repeat the question.
In my analytics, I noticed I get a lot of traffic from floating-share-buttons.com as referral traffic. What is that? So I saw this question, and I've actually seen it in some analytics personally, and it is ghost spam, ghost crawlers.
Yeah, you can filter that out.
You can filter it out, and you'll see if you do some research, if you do some reading, you'll say, oh, it's killing your analytics, it's killing your SEO and stuff like that. It's not necessarily killing your analytics, but it is spammy, and it's basically false information. And so they're able to kind of, from my understanding and my research, is they send these spammy crawlers to your site, and they bounce right off. They don't even crawl the entire site. And basically what they're trying to get you to do is to see what they're all about, go to their site, attract traffic that way, things of that nature.
Right.
And so it's very spammy. It's something that you can block in analytics, and there's actually some you can go in your Webmaster Tools or Search Console, and they'll show you how to do it, and you can read a lot of good stuff from reliable sources on how to block it. And it's pretty simple. But it is kind of, I know some people have seen it, and I've seen questions asked. I'll get a jump in traffic from this, and I'll have, it'll bring 32, 34, 40 people to my site. That's not necessarily the case. It's not people. It's these spammy crawlers that come to your site. They don't look through, crawl the whole page. They just get on there, and then they bounce right off. And it's very spammy, and it's something you can block. It's definitely something that I suggest that you do block. And it's not that difficult. You can go in and do that, but it's not, it's not good stuff. It's not good referral traffic. It's, they consider it ghost spam or ghost crawlers.
Yeah. And one thing I go an extra step further. In Google Analytics, you can track down what their IP address is.
Yeah.
And in HT Access, you can actually go in and block that IP from even hitting your site.
Yeah. You probably want to go that deep into it and take that extra step.
Yeah. I had a situation with a client where they ranked number 2 on the first page of Google. And I don't know what the mindset was, but I was tracking these IPs. They were all from India. And I have tools that I use where you can actually record the screen. You can see the mouse movements and all that stuff. And I was literally watching recordings of people highlighting text, copying and pasting it.
Yep.
And then like a week later, you find it on another site.
Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking, really, you think that SEO is that easy? You're like, oh, they rank. Let's copy their content, put it on our site. Yeah.
Well, that's what some of these agencies and cheaper versions do that are going to offer you to be on page 1 and all this other stuff. So they have their spam techniques, their black hat techniques and stuff like that. So, you do want to monitor who's coming on your site and the activity on your site, because, you could be getting some skewed analytics. So you want to make sure that your analytics are accurate, that it's actual activity on your site, because you want to use those, what you receive, that data, to improve your performance and your strategy. So, that's just another step in it. But don't think it's not necessarily killing your SEO, but it's something I would definitely take the step to block that.
And to finish the point I was getting at is all these IPs were from India. The certain company I was working with actually was only doing business in the U.S. So what did I do? I blocked the entire country of India.
Yeah.
I blocked their IP IP addresses.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not good or whatever, but it certainly stopped people copying the site. And then I also submitted the DMCA request for Google for copying the content, and I got all those sites removed from search.
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, unless you're focusing on that specific area in India, most likely it's spammy traffic.
Right.
So blocking it and then making sure you're going through those proper steps is going to give you correct data in your analytics, and you'll kind of block and avoid all this other ghost stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good, but that's why you need your analytics and all that other stuff. And
yeah, absolutely.
And notice that's the information that's going to give you, and it's going to help improve your efforts.
Yep. One thing I did want to mention, I'm going to be on the 18th, which is Wednesday. I'm going to be the guest host for SEMRush Chat.
Yeah.
And it'll be on Twitter, and I'll be giving out tips and advice on local SEO, how to optimize your business as a local business for your area. And obviously I only have 140 characters to do that in, so there'll be multiple messages there. But it's a great conversation to get into. If you're on Twitter, you can look for the hashtag SEMRush Chat, and anybody can jump in on it. I'm just this particular time I'm the guest.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's a good topic to cover. You have a lot of great information to provide.
Thank you.
I will be jumping in on that and putting my 2 cents in.
That'll be awesome.
And we'll talk about it. And if you have a local business, if you're all about local SEO, if you just want to learn more about it, please tune in, and you're going to learn a lot that's going to help your efforts.
Yeah.
Help expand your knowledge. And what we're all about.
Yeah. And the number to call in is 855-722-0006. We are taking calls right now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's option 1. Again, it's 855-722-0006.
Yes,
or
sir.
you can do hashtag
Search Talk Chat.
Search Talk Chat on Twitter, and we'll answer your question there.
I love it. Love it. Search Talk Chat. That's what we're all about. Before we get on to the next question, did you see what Mr. John Mueller said about his number one advice and tip when it comes to SEO?
Hire professionals?
Said it this past weekend. I'm sorry. His number one is turn into Search Talk Live. Tune into it. I'm just kidding. But he said his number one advice is be consistent. Be consistent.
Yeah.
That's his number one advice. And
that's very gray, but yes.
It's very gray, but, I believe it's very accurate. I would say one of the most frustrating things is performing SEO because it's a lot of hit or miss. You can follow best practices. You can put out, awesome content. You can get it in the right places. You can go through the checklist, and there can still be some, you might not reach your goals, or you might be like, well, what's going on? Why am I not doing this? Why am I getting no traffic to my site? Why am I not getting conversions? So on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's a very frustrating business. I will say that. The one thing I did learn is very frustrating. It's very rewarding, but it can be very, very frustrating. And so being consistent, I think, is as simple as it may sound and a little gray as it may sound, is actually something that we do, everybody in the industry, everybody performing SEO, any type of SEO, SEM, digital marketing. I think that is actually really good advice, and it's one thing that you have to remind yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think people need to know what exactly is best practices.
Yeah.
Best practices is time-tested and given results by doing things the right way and not trying to manipulate search or anything like that. Do it in a way that Google wants you to do, or Bing, or any of those. If you follow those best practices, you're going to last for the long haul and not the short term. A lot of the black hats have been basically gone white hat because they really can't do those tactics anymore. I mean, there's still a few out there that still think they can manipulate, but it's very short term. It doesn't last.
Yeah.
And that's who you want to look after. Now, don't get me wrong, I follow Black Hat forums, and I'll be the first to say that because I want to see what's going on there too. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, you've got to know both sides of the coin.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you got to know what they're doing and what their efforts are, because it's always good to learn what's bad, what's gonna hurt you in your efforts, what's gonna hurt your SEO, what's gonna hurt your site. What people are doing to try to manipulate search engines. It's always good to know what's going on, so you can not only educate clients, educate yourself, but you can steer clear, and focus on best practices. Yeah,
and I can, well, both me and Caleb, we both communicate really closely with, influencers in the industry. Even Google, we talk to people at Google.
Yeah.
If we have a question, like if we see something in Black Hat forums that's maybe gray, kind of a gray area, we'll ask advice if we don't know the answer. And, same with your questions. If you call into the show, if we don't have an answer, we're definitely going to go, and dig it out, because we want to know, because it's a question somebody asked. So
yeah,
that's how we educate ourselves. Even being in the industry as long as I have, and Caleb, same for you, we're always constantly learning new things in the industry, because there's new algorithms and all that stuff that comes out. Whoops. Beep.
It's Monday morning. It's Monday morning.
Stuff that comes out. So you want to make sure that you're on top of all.
I told you we needed to add a delay to the show.
Yeah.
Dave said we didn't, but I said we did.
Yeah.
Because of Mr. Robert. Anyways,
thanks,
yes.
Man. I feel like crap now.
No, you're good. You're good.
Beep.
Anyways, you are tuning into Search Talk Live with Mr. Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin. We are powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies, robertpalmercompanies.com. You got questions, concerns, comments, 855-722-0006, option 1, and then hashtag Search Talk Chat.
Yeah, I'd show yours if you would. If you like the content that we're providing you, please check out our sponsor.
Yeah.
If you're buying a house or refinancing, there's RP Funding, which offers no cost closing. That includes,
pretty awesome deal.
Yeah, it includes everything: titles, fees, everything. Zero. You pay nothing at closing for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're an equal housing lender, so they can if you call them, they can help you out. It's actually the same number as the show. You just don't hit option 1.
Yep.
And you can talk to somebody about you maybe even getting refinanced or buying a new home. Or get an evaluation on your home.
Yep.
They give you a free evaluation on the cost of your home.
You always need to know the price of your home, especially if you're looking to sell. So, yeah, check out robertpalmercompanies.com. We got some more questions, Mr. Robert. Let's see here. Heat maps for your site, are they worth it? Looking at heat maps, using heat maps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. I didn't give out the URL to our sponsor. It's rpfunding.com.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, we gave out robertpalmercompanies.com, but you'll see rpfunding.com. savingthousands.com and Security National Title.
Yeah. Now going back to your question.
Yeah.
Heat maps.
They can help.
Yeah. You use heat maps for conversion optimization.
Yeah.
If you see, because basically what it does is it'll get darker and darker in certain areas where people are clicking the most. And that can give you an idea of where they're looking at your site when it loads and where they're clicking. That gives you the opportunity to kind of optimize, those sections of the site. And it also takes in account, where the mouse moves and where most people are focusing when they land on the page.
Right. Well, you want to know what's happening on your site. You want to know the activity.
Yeah.
What's attractive, what your users are interested in, the type of content they want to see, the images, the videos. Maybe you added some stuff to your site. You want to see if it's working, if people are actually interacting with what you're offering. These heat maps, they are definitely beneficial in that, because you can optimize and you can adjust your site and everything, your content and all that other stuff, your multimedia and everything. You can adjust that to make it more user-friendly, to make it more attractive, to make it more interactive. So you always want to see what's going on with your site. It's an important aspect, I think, to understand, what are they reading? Where are they going after they read a certain piece of content? Where are they funneling through from your homepage? So on and so forth. So it can definitely be very beneficial.
Yeah. So I use a particular one, because it's inexpensive, but it's called Lucky Orange. And that does a screen record too. So when somebody lands on your site, you can do either the heat map or you can watch the recording.
Right.
And for like $10 a month, it'll record up to 10 or 100 people.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, you can sit there and watch people go through and what they're doing, how they're interacting with your site. Are they going through the conversion funnel?
Yeah.
That type of thing. And that's what we'll talk about after we get through the questions. But it's great for tweaking the site. Like if you see certain actions happening that maybe are not that accurate, then you're gonna have a really good, strong understanding of what you need to do on your site to improve that.
Yeah. And it's if you put out a certain, say, just for an example from my own personal experience, I've put out a guide before, like a step-by-step guide, for a big topic, but it has certain guides in it. Yeah. And using that heat map, I was seeing, okay, what specifics are they interested in?
Right.
What are they actually looking for? Are they going through everything that I want them to go through? Is what I set up, is it leading them to the next page? The internal links working? What's going on? And so if it wasn't working, there were certain things that weren't working, and so I could adjust it. Maybe it needed to be moved up, moved down, maybe a different title, image, so on and so forth. And if for certain things that was gaining a lot of traffic where people are really attracted to and focused, for one, that gave me extra content ideas because they were interested in that. Maybe they needed more information, and that's what they were going for. And so, that's something was working. And so, if you're putting out a specific thing like that, if you're a content site, you have this guide, whatever it may, in whatever industry, that's something that can definitely help you, because the whole point of that was to add a different component to my site, a different aspect and perception and idea and of all the content that I had put out. And so just to see if it was working or not, to see how they interacted with it, that heat map gave me a lot of information.
Yeah. It's great for like content sites, because what you can do is you can see how far people are actually reading your content. Are they reading the whole article? Are they reading the first paragraph? If you see that they're reading everything, that means it's engaging. It's what you're wanting. You want to improve and add more of. And you can get a good idea of that. And it's funny because, I've watched enough of these screen records where they can, you actually watch the mouse. People read with the mouse pointer. You'll be surprised. You can see it go left to right, reading the content with the mouse.
Yeah.
So you can tell, where they're reading and where they're dropping off. And, it might give you a better idea of, like, if you want to refresh that content, where you need to change it.
Right.
To keep that person reading that article.
Yeah. So I would use heat maps and see what's going on your site. Let's see. Okay, we got one more question. Mr. Rob, what is internal linking? Well,
you're asking me?
No, that was asked to us.
Okay.
Internal linking.
I was just joking. I was like, you asked.
No, what is it? Go ahead. No, internal linking. Basically, you are in your content and your site, you are linking to different pages on your own site. So you're linking to your own site. And that might sound, well, why do I want to do that? Well, why wouldn't you want to do it? I think it is especially for your content, for your blog, and content that you're providing. Internal linking should be a big part of it. It shouldn't be all over the place. I wouldn't say that you include everything is directed to your site. You do need to have a certain amount of external links, and you need to be careful on who you're linking to. That's a big part of it. But internal links are, if you are writing a certain topic, if you're writing a certain piece of content, if you have a certain page and you have content that is relevant to that, to a certain part of that content, to a certain idea, if you have stuff that would boost that content, be a relevant resource, a useful resource, it does need to be included in that content, because one, it kind of builds your own authority. Two, it's really good for navigating your site, new content discovery. They might not have known that certain piece of content was on your site. So you're allowing them to discover new content on your site. And two, you don't let them leave your site. I think that's the one thing. You have that extra content. You're linking to your own resource. You're linking to your own relevant, authoritative, useful content. Okay, well, instead of you putting that external link for them to go somewhere else, if you have that, include that internal link so they stay on your site. They continue recognizing your brand, reading your content to, you're building that follower, that reader that's going to consistently come to your site. And so don't let them bounce off. You do want to have a certain amount of external links, so we'll say that. And in most cases, you want to provide that no-follow tag. But if you have that resource that's going to fit in that content, that's going to be relevant, include it, because it's good for navigating your site. Like I said, for content discovery, you're not going to let them leave your site. You're going to let them keep learning more, to keep reading more, to keep building that brand recognition, and you're going to have that loyal follower. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's still safe to probably no follow if you have a guest blogger or something that. Or just do
Absolutely.
A link without the link in it. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
URL.
Yeah.
But definitely.
But for your own site, you want to have those internal links.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's an important, especially for your content. It's just an important part of it. And I think it's not utilized enough. I've seen a lot of sites that do it very, very well. I've seen a lot of sites that do it overkill. And it's just like, okay, we get it. You got content on the site. But there's some sites that just naturally put it in there, that put it to relevant things. And, it can also, always about content, if you see that you have a big section and there's nothing to link to, you can't find an awesome resource.
Well,
boom.
Yeah, I would highly recommend, if you're not doing this, is to have a related post at the end of your articles.
Yeah.
Because especially, and you got to be careful, because if you're using like WordPress, there's certain related post plugins that suck.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But have one where you can manually put in some related posts if you like, or if you can find a really good one, just another related post, I think, is a really good one plugin that I've used. But what that does is that keeps that content relevant as far as being indexed by Google, your old posts, and it also helps the reader to keep digging into your site for more content and reading more information. If it's all related, you might keep on your site forever. And a really good site that I like, and it's probably not awesome for SEO, but user experience is amazing, is the LA Times.
Yeah.
They have an amazing template there that it's just kind of infinite scroll, but it keeps the reader engaged because it goes by category, and they're writers. They're wonderful. They keep you, from post to post. They keep you going, and just really good at keeping the reader engaged.
Yeah. And, don't let your old content get buried. It can get buried out of sight, out of mind. You might have had good content, a little bit ago, and it's no longer, you're no longer getting traffic through it. It might have fallen a little bit in the rankings, so on and so forth. It's a great way to, kind of get that content back up and going, to kind of, well, I wrote this topic and it was, here's an awesome resource through it, include it in there, internal linking, add it to the relevant posts under there, but don't let your content get buried. And this is a great way to kind of still give it some life.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people are still visiting, that means the search engines are too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge.
Yeah.
We got about 6 minutes left. If you want to call in with your questions, the number's 855-722-0006. Again, it's 855-722-0006, option 1. We are down to 6 minutes. So if you want to call in real quick with your questions, we can take those. I'm monitoring Twitter. If you have a question, you can do hashtag search chat.
Yeah. Search talk chat.
Yeah. Search talk chat.
Search talk chat.
And, so we covered. This has been a great show, actually.
Very
covered
good
some
show.
good stuff.
Yeah.
But is that all the questions?
Yeah, that's all the ones that we had this Monday morning, and so there are actually some pretty good ones.
Yeah, a lot of people are busy right now it's typical Monday for most people.
Yeah, catching up, reading those emails, getting stuff out. Great content. We definitely covered a lot of good information. So we apologize about the time change and the stove time change. We just had to kind of adjust some things a little bit, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, so we won't have a show tomorrow, but tune in next week. Is it next week we have
yes.
Raven Tools?
Yes.
That's no, it's not next week.
No, it's the
next.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, on Tuesday the 1st, we have the co-founder of Raven Tools going to be in here.
Love some Raven Tools.
Yeah, he's going to be talking about the tools they have to offer and that type of stuff. Tune in for that show because Raven Tools is pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, they're up there with Moz, and
we'll be normal time too. We'll be Tuesday at 3:30 for that one.
Yeah, 2:30.
3:30.
Yes,
3:30. Tuesday at 3:30.
Yeah, so Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can call in anytime. We have you can reach us on Twitter at Search Talk Live. You can reach Caleb at CJ_MCE.
Yes, sir.
And you can reach me at Robert, which is ROBERT OHAVER. You can listen to the show if you're listening somewhere else. You get it on Spreaker. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on. We're working on mobile apps here pretty soon, and hopefully we'll be on iHeartRadio. We're hoping.
Yeah,
waiting for an approval. So yeah, we're all over the place. So you can get us on SoundCloud. So you can listen on your mobile phone or in the car, wherever you want to listen to us, or you can call in while you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah, that you can do.
Yeah, especially on the West Coast. By the time we do the show, it's lunchtime, so you can call in and ask us then.
Absolutely. All right.
Let's see. We got about 3 minutes left. Probably won't be any help if you call in right now. But anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, man. I think we covered a lot.
Oh, yeah. Check out the hashtag SEMRush Chat.
Wednesday, right?
I'm a host on Wednesday, yeah.
Local search.
You can get questions and tips. Well, actually, not questions. We just give out tips and advice on this particular topic. Is going to be local SEO. And
it's going to be a good one. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll help a lot for you if you have a local business. And we'll probably have a show on, local SEO.
Yeah.
I think we could do a whole hour on that topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, I think that's going to be the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for listening in. Thank you for your support. Oh, and also I wanted to mention I have hit over 800 followers on YouTube, and I wanted to thank those people, too,
for
following. I really appreciate your support and listening to the show every Tuesday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm Robert.
I'm Caleb.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.